Our project is about food waste. We feel that food waste is a major problem of our times that is seriously overlooked and not talked about enough.
What is food waste? Food waste refers to food that completes the food supply chain up to a final product of good quality and fit for consumption, but still doesn't get consumed because it is discarded, whether or not after it is left to spoil or expire.
Here's a not so fun fact. In 2021, 35.3 million tons of food ended up in landfills.
Introduction. For many years, the food waste phenomenon was focused on less developed countries where malnutrition and hunger are more common. During the last 2 decades, however, food waste has been examined in developed countries as attitudes about waste in general have changed and more people in wealthier countries seek assistance in meeting their nutritional needs.
During the 20th century, progress in agriculture, cultivation, and the food industry allowed most developed countries to overcome the condition of food scarcity which had been prevalent prior to that time. In addition, the increase in average income has given ever larger segments of the population access to greater quantities and higher quality of food. As a result, the increasing availability and variety of food, its decreasing price, and a lower percentage of income spent on food has progressively led to greater tolerance to food waste.
It is difficult to analyze food waste in Greece, not only because of the lack of extensive and in depth research, but also due to the absence of public debate about this important issue. A study of limited scope has been conducted by the University of Harokopio in Athens.
Why are large amounts of food wasted though? Studies have shown that food is being wasted due to the size of food portions, problems with labeling of products, packaging problems, storage problems, insufficient information, preferences, manner of purchasing food, and socioeconomic factors.
Our research on the food waste phenomenon is divided in three main sections. The first one is food management in households. The second one is food management in our school restaurant, while the third one is food management in hangar restaurants.
Food management in households. In order to collect information regarding how our classmates and their families manage food, we handed out 200 questionnaires that our team made and came up with some interesting conclusions.
As we can see, our school students are quite familiar with the food waste problem. Specifically, 46% of them are very aware of the problem, and 6% of them know nothing about the problem.
Second conclusion. Our research showed that 48% of expired food ends up in the trash.
Conclusion 3. What is the most common foods that end up thrown away in your household? The most common is dairy products, and the most uncommon is legume.
Conclusion 4. According to our study, 42% of the households don't usually have any leftovers, while on the other hand, 8% of the households have large amounts of them.
Conclusion 5. It seems like our students' families are quite familiar with meal planning. 40% of them always plan their weekly meals, while only 16% of them never plan their meals.
20% of the students' families always make lists before going shopping. 24% of them usually make such lists. 20% of them often make lists of what they need beforehand. 60% of the families aren't used to making lists, and 20% of them never make a list before going grocery shopping.
Our final conclusion. As we see, 90% of the people that have been asked have knowledge about composting, even though only a small percentage of them compost their food leftovers.
Now, we are going to explain you our school management regarding food waste.
3 meals are provided daily by the school restaurant. The first one being breakfast, when students are provided with cereal, baked goods and fruit. The second one is lunch, which includes a main course and a side of salad. The third one is an afternoon snack, which is served to the small kids that have to stay at school until the evening. Everything we serve has been prepared by our school cooks. Approximately 550 portions of food have to be prepared daily.
Ingredients. In order to ensure that we only use fresh, high-quality ingredients, we buy them from local stores while also making sure that the majority of the fruit and vegetables are locally produced. The meal plan has been made by a licensed dietitian, so the weekly menu includes meat, fish, and vegetables.
The quantity of the ingredients is entirely dependent on the dish that we have to make each day. The number of servings that we have to prepare doesn't change unless we are informed that a big group of students is going to be absent on a particular day. Therefore, it's safe to say that the ingredients that we have to buy are only affected by the recipe that we have to make.
The leftovers. About 90% of the leftovers is fed to the animals. 5% of it is composted by the school gardener using a composting bin that can be found within the school premises. The remaining is usually thrown away.
What kind of food is usually not eaten by the students? Dishes such as beans, peas and grilled vegetables are not really popular among the students, which means that we usually have some leftovers when these are on the menu. This is due to the fact that the parents haven't taught their children from a very young age that they have to eat those foods too, in order to maintain a healthy diet.
Some possible solutions in order for our school to waste even less food could be expanding our composting program in our garden, working food waste into the curriculum, measuring our progress, giving kids more time to eat, doing waste audits periodically, and donating food.
Food management in Chania restaurants. We interviewed a local restaurant owner who has many years of experience in this field and agreed to help us.
Where do you buy the ingredients from? As a restaurant, we try to support local producers, so we buy 70% of our ingredients from them.
How do you decide the quantity of the ingredients that have been bought? The demand and the season are some of the factors that play a really important role in my decision.
Question 3. How do you deal with the leftovers? If there are leftovers, they are either available for the staff or homeless people to take. In addition, the leftovers that the customers did not consume are fed to animals. Only a small amount of food is thrown away.
What changes can be made in your opinion in order to not waste any food? The customers should have the opportunity to choose how much food they want to eat. In other words, the restaurants should provide the consumers with various portion size options. Another possible solution could be the restaurants having less menu options in order to ensure that we do not buy any extra ingredients we end up not using.
Here are some recommendations to reduce the size and the impact of food waste. 1. Common definitions and metrics. 2. Understanding the causes. 3. Reducing in order to recover less. 4. Reuse. 5. A political priority. 6. Cooperating to save. 7. Information for education.